I do love giving a platform to emerging names in the music space of such high competence and individuality. And you know, if you follow my work, that I do that on a regular basis of many entries in the music world. Typically of a metal focus, and metal and rock will be inclusive to both extremes, but maybe some variation from time to time where I feel there's an opportunity. And of course, I welcome that to anybody in approach. But I do love highlighting names that deserve more attention, especially ones, again, that are such a present-day standing and rather recent in debut. A bit of an abnormality from how I normally approach the European metal market, which is largely based on recommended feedback via my comment section. But I love fresh entries. And there's many that we take from that angle in terms of exploration, and we have another one such today with DOMINUM that you might recognize in terms of attribution as of late focus over 5 singles with the past couple of months, but a rather recent debut, in fact, of another Napalm Records attribution, and they really have a lot of credit under their belt. But you know, I really do love analyzing really any talent in the music world. It truly is an art form. It is the one I most revere. And of course, I think there's an enhancement with the collaborative process that we enjoy together. It means more than just enjoying works in isolation on a first-time basis. And sometimes we do take reintroduction journeys, yes, but fresh impressions are always quite fun. Especially on suspicion that maybe some of you who have not yet entertained certain groups that are spotlighted here are welcomed into the graces of them, and that perhaps roots are pitched for greater exploration that we take together. And we're going to have such an opportunity with DOMINUM, an in-depth one that I alluded to, or maybe I directly stated it, I forget exactly, but I believe on recollection I did tell you they were coming for a full album survey. And phase 2 is, again, quite packed with artists, but I'm like, you know, it's just 8 numbers. I can fit them in, and I've really appreciated the introduction that I've had to their work ever since Patient Zero, going on 4 singles now, the most recent being Hey Living People, the title number. The first 5 pieces, in fact, on the album we've explored together, just that general block, with the remaining 8 unveiled tonight as I'm filming this. I don't know when these will get up, but hopefully in a relatively soon time frame. If you've not yet humored DOMINUM, this is the first introduction for you. Hopefully you'll come to like this group. Again, I welcome anybody in terms of approach, whether you happen to be a fan like me that's followed their work ever since the beginning, rather recent one in fact, or an initiate listener. This could be your first footing. I would recommend, because we are on the 6th track of the album where we're going to initiate, I'm recommending it to you, you humor the first 5 from a newer voice within the, I believe, German metal market. I think it's German. I'm pretty sure. I've humored a couple groups on the folk extreme that I've quite liked, and this is the first one in appearance to my playlist that is zombie metal. Unique concept, beautifully materialized by the visualizer aids. It's been quite a fun realm to explore of DOMINUM's work, but we were just considering the tunes in isolation together on a full album survey, which I used to give out at a very, soft basis, but with the European metal market, this is readily becoming a mainstay exception of expectancy. And I think with DOMINUM, it'd be fun to give them that privilege, right? The first project from their library, with hopefully many more to come, that we're going to explore together in mutual harmony. And maybe some of you, because of this, will become DOMINUM fans yourselves. I have many re-listens since, and I'm curious to take such opportunities with you again with songs that especially play back into the original concept. For example, and I get immediate vibes back to Cannibal Corpses with this. Maybe with the same level of campiness of storytelling. I don't know yet. We're going to see that together, but we all taste the same. I haven't carried many groups on my playlist that are horror specific in direction on concept, but I do like conceptual releases, and again, I admire individuality and competence and execution and the hardness to their numbers. Hardness, yes, generally, but a fun levity in terms of spirit that at least I've picked up on, especially with the visualizer's respect, but a great command in terms of what I would classify void of particular declaration from the artist. I would say it kind of plays around in the heavy metal, power metal, modern metal extremes. That's what I really noticed with their work superficially, with some reminiscent talents coming to mind immediately. I credited, for example, Angus McSix, Glory Hammer, in particular sections of notably with Danger Danger in that respect, you really see shades, if you're familiarized to either group. But maybe DOMINUM will be a first introduction for you to the European market generally, maybe some of those other groups. Who knows? You might really come to like them, I think. You don't even, I think, have to be a metal fan first and foremost to appreciate their work. Just sit back and keep an open mind, and it's worth it to do. In terms of how many people grace this channel and how many bands, we've heard some really good stuff. DOMINUM on 5 songs so far, going on 13. A lot of personality, individually, and it's stuck with me ever since my first listen. Let's continue down the ride with We All Taste the Same. So direct, the concept, but hey, I'm sure it'll be fun. Different mood on initiation, a bit reminiscent to Hey Living People. Quite soft.
Come take a look at the menu. Don't be scared. let me explain.
Oh my.
Flesh and blood, body parts, all shapes and sizes. Lastly, we all taste the same. Do you prefer certain flavor?
The tone on
Too much thought would be in vain.
aptitude on strength with, again, vocal intermixing with the background. The tone of Dr. Dead's voice here, though, is it's so funny. It's a perfect aid.
Who knew we all taste the same?
Great builds. Fantastic metal swing. Good pace. I'm trying to follow the direct pacing here. Nice incline on the riffs, but it's really balanced work.
Would you like fries with that toast?
Oh my gosh.
Spit it up with the brain. You can try
Nice darker riffs too. A lot of dimension on this one.
somehow we all
Mixed really well. Whatever extreme we're hitting on again on that riff side.
taste the same. Here we are trapped in the food chain. Slaughters are waiting for each and every one of us. Those are the
Really good swings too. They're light on this one.
that's how it feels when the
Oh, nice little background. Like, is that a vocal linger or a guitar drift? It's one of the two.
we contain proteins and acids. And no, this is far from between.
This is a really funny number. Again, I love the energy they play around to. It's so evidently unapologetic. We got a concept. We're going for it.
Here we are trapped in the food chain. Slaughters are waiting for
The key shift too is gold for this.
those are the last days of freedom. That's how it feels when the
See, it's just that light little atmosphere take to the piece. Whatever it is, instrumental or vocal swing. Beautiful development on this one. It's so fun.
looking at the world outside, no one ever knew. Leading to a different life, nothing you could do. Nobody's living, and nobody cares. If only the stars would align.
A lot of atmosphere tonally. Again, like I said, different extremes within the metal world and rock world. Specifically captured in each individual song. That amazes me, the level of aptitude here. Again, initiation work too.
Forever,
You don't always see this.
forever. Time went by. Overnight.
This is like 80s vibes again with this one. The way the vocals are modulated and built with the song and background. My gosh. 80s, late 70s. I see it immediately.
Suddenly, if I had only one wish, then lie to me. Here we are trapped in the food chain. Slaughters are waiting for each and every one of us. Those are the last days of freedom. That's how it feels when the end is just one step away.
Dominum packs everything in.
It's too late.
Wow. Instrumental energy is drawn back a bit with that number intentionally. Again, you consider the lyrical evolution with beautifully interwoven camp factor. Again, you consider the concept of the zombie metal, which I've called horror metal, at least on first approaches, to be a little more inclusive of a direction, broadly speaking. It really does come across as quite funny, but still, it's funny, the balance, it's perfect that they hit on. the same level, like you look at a number like Cannibal Corpses, if you didn't know about Dominum and you weren't aware of, again, the prowess, and that wasn't the draw for you. And maybe as well, you're not someone that necessarily frequents horror media. I do tend to prefer thrillers myself, though I keep an open door to horror movies. I just have a lot more conditions going in. For example, again, another artistic language. Musically, I can't speak to other horror-centered concepts. I welcome recommendations down below if any of you are aware of names you could provide to me that I would love to be able to explore on a first basis, but generally, I'm not as accustomed to that particular world of musical offerings if such exist, where for me, Dominum is quite a fresh name on appearances and on evolution of craftsmanship. This one picks the right balance. Again, I could see somebody approaching from a non-favoritism perspective towards horror media, or lessened exposure, or willful less exposure perhaps. I can think of maybe some examples personally that might look at Dominum with Cannibal Corpses or We All Taste the Same as examples, just superficially on name without entertaining the number, or looking at the depth of the narrative, or understanding the levity that's beautifully exercised here, possibly pushing it aside. And yet, if you walk in with an open mind, you're well warned of a piece that it's quite funny, and it casts, I think, both balances between, again, a horror extreme and levity. There's a perfect meld between camp and seriousness of delivery, and the adventurism of this piece, again, each number from Dominum's collection on Hey Living People, as we've explored them together so far, has been in some way specialized on voice. The score on this one and the way it evolves, it's much softer, I think, than any of the other numbers by comparison. They all have a bit of a harder backing. This one definitely comes across as more classically rock-inspired, or inspired, specifically with an obvious love, I'm going to call it that. I mean, I don't know if this is the artist, what they were going for, but just maybe a funny coincidence. But I catch on to an obvious reverence to older music styles, notably, again, of late 70s to 80s. Those synths and the way the chorus sections are designed, definitely more so towards the end. You notice it explicitly on Effect, but it really carries that type of facade to it. I love that development. Again, the way the number evolves on lyrical vision is quite funny and hilarious, and it's easy to follow along with, and even find yourself kind of working in the groove of, even if, again, superficially, you're like, it's well suited for Dominum on direction and perfect for horror metal chic and certainly zombie metal. It's funny, you know. They really are an individual presence so far on my playlist currently, with, again, a welcome open door for anything else that I may explore in the future. But I'm very impressed by the aptitude of this group, again, on Initiator Project, no less. You don't always see this. With particular groups, it might be, and I've seen examples where, again, this has been in line with where we sit with Dominum, but the versatility of approach, though, to their work, instrumentally, with specific song stylings and what they favor, and certain choices in riffs, percussion work, vocal intermixing, style predominance. There's such uniqueness, again, with the vision of this group in the entire body of what we've surveyed so far with Hey Living People. And my suspicion is that'll continue as we explore more work from this. And again, a full album survey. I'm just really impressed, because with some groups on Initiation, you might see a bit of a trial exercise of what sound works best, you know, in terms of what our evolution identity will be. It might be a spattering of attempts to try and find the best path forward, right? Where are our strengths? Where is our direction best pronounced? You don't always see this level of engagement on such a wide field. And it's deliberate with Dominum. That's what comes across to me. And by the way, they're a great fit of correspondence. If you happen to, I believe, be in, it's in Europe. I wish it were in the US, maybe one day. If you happen to be in Europe and you're looking at upcoming tours, they're a great fit for, I don't know if they're opening, but they're at least, I believe, one of the corresponding artists, yes, for Feuerschwangs. I can't wait to go see them live, but for Dominum, what a feature you have. And that'll be, I believe, maybe it's currently ongoing or it's post the album debut, I forget. It's one of the two. They're a great fit, though, to bring on. Perfect collaboration. What a great fit to our discoveries together, right? We all taste the same. Like every track so far in this album, a lot of personality, independently, beautifully developed on theme, on expression. I love the image, by the way. Like I said, late 70s to 80s drift. I get like kind of an amusement park facade, too, of those chorus sections. It's so funny, like the way that the key is conjured up. There's just something about it that, again, the balance between camp and seriousness of offering is perfectly developed with this group. I love it. And I've seen that in a couple of the later entries. Like our first entrance was just such a great power metal, heavy metal medley. That's what came across to me. It still does, at least on voice. Even though this one, it's highly controlled as a departure experience from the other pieces, it's still a welcome retreat. It adds a lot of definition of understanding and approach to Dominum for sure. Certainly I experienced that. I'd love to hear if it's a similar sentiment you have down below. Of course, we're going to get a wider pool of understanding for this group on evolution going forward. But for now, what are your thoughts on We All Taste the Same? It's funny. And your approach to Dominum? Fan like me, of mutual standing since the first song debuted, or first impression? What do you think? Again, more to come. Next up with Frankenstein. That falls right in line on concept, doesn't it? Especially for the Dr. Dead role. I love it, though. Dominum's great. I've had a really good time in terms of the 5 singles we've explored and now initiating with the full album. It's been a great discovery that we're taking together. Best way to enjoy music, I think, is collaboratively. And for Dominum, a real highlight of a name to spotlight here, alongside many. But a new favorite for mine, and one that I definitely hope there's a long future ahead of. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.